Okay, guys, and it looks like we are live now. I see the gameplay. What's going on, everyone, and welcome to the Xbox Roundtable Podcast. This is episode number 212, the place Sunday nights to listen to talk about Xbox, gaming in general, and just hang out with the gang, doing whatever, right? Talking games. Naturally, I'm your host, Invader, and yeah, we got a little something to talk about today. Just a little something. Obviously, there's been big news that dropped the past week. This past Tuesday, of course, Microsoft is buying freaking Activision-Blizzard, King, and all that jazz. There's a lot to go over and digest with this one as well. Again, it's immense. It's an earthquake across the entire gaming industry. But you know what? We will not waste any time. Let's get to some introductions here. And joining the panel tonight is our buddy, Xbox University. Uni buddy, how you been?
I've been well, man. It's a great time to be a gamer, man. I cannot complain whatsoever. How y'all been?
Yeah, I've been doing good, doing really well, honestly. Like during the past week, I was kind of out of it. I wasn't, I don't know, I guess I had a head cold or something. I was shoveling way too much snow on Monday, as I'm sure MLD knows. But yeah, Tuesday came and none the wiser, nothing really happened, and bam, right early in the morning, um they lay this news. But we will dive into that again. Like I'm still like shocked that this happened. But let's get to the panel intros for the TXR regulars. Centurion buddy, hey, how you been the past week?
Oh, doing great, man. Just been relaxing, playing some games here and there. Just kind of taking a step back and just taking a breath. I can't believe Microsoft bought Activision. It's been one heck of a crazy week. We've seen a lot of speculation and talk about what's going on, and I can't wait to talk about it all in tonight's show.
Right. Yeah, a lot of there's been a lot of fun speculation going on. Shout out to you, Mav. Of course, I have to mention you. No, it's been fun. It's been fun the past few days for sure. We will dive into all the little details in a sec. Moving on to general MLD, my friend, buddy. How you been too?
Well, I've been pretty good. It's been an interesting week to say the least. We have about 70 billion reasons to be excited tonight. Yeah, Twitter's been crazy, but overall, it's a great time to be an Xbox gamer. Can't wait to get into it.
Hey, I totally agree with you. And Mr. Shock Nero, Eric Shockley, buddy, how's things at your end?
Pretty good, yeah. I was like, yeah. Well, see, you weren't expecting it because usually when they did that last time, it was like on a Monday. But then we had the Martin Luther King Day, so it was just like a random Tuesday. Yeah, that it's funny when you looked at it. It was just like, wait, oh, active. It like took me forever to like process it. Like, wait, what? What am I reading? But yeah, we'll get into it. But yeah, that was a shocker.
No doubt, yeah. But yeah, guys, before we dive into all this, we'll just get into things. But a reminder that you can find the show on various audio platforms. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and loads of others. Just search TXR for your on-the-go fix. Again, we're giving you options to listen to us on many different spots. Definitely check us out. Well, guys, without further ado, you know what? Let's get into the main attraction, the only attraction for tonight. Let's see. The past week, on Tuesday, January 18th, as we were talking about, Microsoft just casually announced that it will be buying Activision Blizzard for close to $70 billion. And it has sent a shockwave throughout the game industry and, well, to be honest, entertainment as a whole. Meaning that blockbuster franchises such as Call of Duty, Overwatch, Diablo, and many others are now Microsoft and Xbox properties. I mean, it's going to take a while to get closed, probably a year or more. But again, we'll dive into that. But just the fact that they're that they made this announcement is mind-boggling. Xbox Uni, brother, I'll hit you up first. I mean, where do we begin here, bud? What are your thoughts on this huge, huge purchase? I know you got tons to say.
Yeah, man, I'm a bit congested tonight, so just letting y'all know. But what's going on is I really believe that that was Microsoft basically doing a pincer move where, on one hand, in one swoop, they were trying to keep big players like Amazon and Google or whatever out of the core gaming sphere, while making sure to keep the table, PlayStation and Nintendo at the table and box them in. So the reason why what they're doing is they want to discourage big players like Amazon and stuff like that from doing exactly what they did. So they took the biggest player off the table. And I keep telling them, in order for Game Pass to work, they're gonna have to do like what Disney did. Disney showed them the blueprint. Um, Disney spent 70 billion or so on 21st Century Fox. They went and got Star Wars and Marvel, put that all together with Pixar and National Geographic and Hulu and ESPN, put that all on Disney Plus, and it went from 0 to 100 million subscribers in 18 months. That's what they want. They want to force Game Pass to work, and in order to do that, you're gonna have to, quote unquote, be the bad guy and go out and get some properties, because you can't depend on third parties. Like, the last generation showed them how fickle third parties are. If you ever stop like being the most popular platform or whatever the case may be, third parties, they leave. Look at Activision. They gave COD marketing to PlayStation. All of the big exclusives and stuff went to PlayStation because they had the more player bases. Microsoft is no longer dealing with that. I still think that they have one more Infinity Stone to put. They want to have 3 publishers plus Xbox Game Studios, and what they can do is, for PlayStation and Nintendo, they can what's the word I'm looking for? Negotiate. Like, you can put Game Pass on PlayStation, but you can only get Activision games, or you can get Activision and Bethesda games if you drop our percentage to like 15% instead of 30%, something like that. I'm pretty sure they're trying to strong arm them behind. So, like I said, but apart from business as a gamer, why this benefits us is because I really haven't been playing COD at all for the last 2 years, because I refuse to pay. I really haven't been playing any annual game. I bought 2K this year, but I regretted it. I really don't like annual games because they don't do any. It's just basically the same game every year, just reskinned
Right.
for the same price. And that's why I didn't like it. So now if you put COD on Game Pass every year, I might actually play it. Like I said, the numbers for COD, as crazy as it sounds, will go up, not down, if they put it on Game Pass. Day one. They don't even have to keep it exclusive. Just put it on Game Pass day one is enough. Like, you could stay over your PlayStation, your personal PlayStation, and buy COD every year for the next 8 years for $70. You could have bought an Xbox for that money. So at the end of the day, I just think that it's great for gamers. We're gonna get, as soon as this goes through, we're gonna get like 50 games that end up on Game Pass day one. And now that of course, the human element, I'm happy for the people. They don't have to work under that monster anymore. So that's good news as well. And like I said, I just love what Xbox is building. I knew it. I knew it from the time the Satya Nadella said we're all in on gaming. I'm like, they're $2 trillion. They missed out on TikTok, or whatever the case may be. So I totally expected them to go this deep. I thought they was gonna go take two first, but obviously this came about because of all of the situations, and they had to jump on it. But I do think they're gonna go and because it's too hard to get like a Japanese publisher. It's probably a lot better that they deal with the Japanese independent devs. They're working with 200 right now. And if one of those make a great game, they can scoop one of those up and get some Japanese studios that way. I think that's how they're gonna do it. But because it's probably too complicated to try to get a big publisher from Japan. But if they can lock up the Western market, which is the most lucrative market, I keep telling people there's a reason why Sony moved their headquarters to America. It's the most lucrative market. That's where they make the majority of their money. So if Xbox can tie down all of those big live service games, like they have Minecraft, they have Call of Duty, they have Halo, they have World of Warcraft, they got Elder Scrolls Online, they got all of these games that basically people can spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and thousands of hours on, and the engagement is what they're looking for. So, like I said, it's a step in the right direction. It's nowhere near a monopoly like these idiots are talking about. But monopoly, how could it be a monopoly? And I just listed like 30 big publishers on my Twitter today. That's like 30 publishers. How could it be a monopoly if they get one more? It makes no sense. But like I said, I'm sorry. I've been rambling. You can go ahead.
Oh no, it's passionate, and I think a lot of people listening and appreciate that. And what you're saying makes a lot of sense, and I agree with you on that one, Uni. So yeah, there's a lot to kind of digest here, as I was saying before, and there's a lot of details. As far as the games that go with Activision, Blizzard, and King, because again, this isn't just Activision. There's the amalgamation of Blizzard in there. Of course, there's King that made the very popular mobile game Candy Crush. You have to put that in there. We got Call of Duty, Crash Bandicoot, Diablo, all the hero games like Guitar Hero, DJ Hero, Overwatch, Geometry Wars. Remember that, guys? Going back to the early days of the 360. Hearthstone, Hexen, King's Quest, Spyro, StarCraft, the Tony Hawk Pro Skater games, World of Warcraft. I mean, I'm just trying to talk about like the big games, some of the more notable titles, or even some of the older IP, but damn, like that's massive. Like Call of Duty alone is earth-shattering. I can't believe I'm saying that Xbox is buying Call of Duty. I mean, they've always been associated with them. I mean, okay, maybe not this past gen, but still, like, damn, that I can't believe it. Let's see, Centurion Buddy, I'll pick on you on this. What are your like thoughts when you first heard about this deal? Like, what went through your mind? What's your take on all this?
I have a great mini takes that I could drone on about for a while. But I'm not going to subjugate anybody to that, I guess. When I first saw it, definitely everybody had to do that double take. Am I staring at something that's real? Is this tweet real? What's going on? We all had to do due diligence and make sure that what we were reading was real. And when I at least figured it out, I'm excited for what the future holds for Xbox. We're probably going to see major growth inside the company. We saw Phil Spencer get promoted to CEO of Microsoft Gaming now. That means we're probably more than likely going to see somebody like Sarah Bond probably get promoted into Phil Spencer's position because he's moving into a much larger role at this point. And in seeing that title of CEO of Microsoft Gaming, it also shows the potential that they just might not be done. That's the whole idea now, is that there's going to be probably a whole group of publishers and developers that are going to have to report to Phil Spencer and let them know about the world's tidings at all the little developers and publishers that are probably going to be put under this umbrella. It's a very exciting time, but I am also quelling my emotions and excitement for it. I'm trying to keep things in check. I definitely see a lot of people, no offense to anybody, I'm just being blunt. I see a lot of the what ifs and the maybes and the speculation and stuff like that. And it's like, I want to have those conversations. They're fun, but also at the same time, I'm wanting to remember that technically they have only signed a letter of intent when it comes to purchasing Activision. They have until about even Microsoft is predicting this is going to take longer than Bethesda's deal, and it's going to be kind of going into June of 2023 before this deal is probably more than likely fully completed. And I think that we're probably going to see some things pop up. We're talking about $70 billion. We are going to see government regulators have their 2 cents in it. There's going to be those politicians out there that want their 15 minutes of fame and their say so. And, we all know how the monopoly word has been thrown around. Is it a monopoly? No. But we have seen stuff like this before, like with Facebook and Instagram. They when they purchased out Instagram, the Department of Justice never said, yes, you could or no, you can't. They just kept their mouth shut. And now years later, they're wanting to reopen that deal. Because, well, he never told you yes or no. So we all see that the government has its ways of kind of making a big deal out of nothing sometimes. And that's where I'm just wanting to just sit back and watch what's going to happen with this whole deal. We all know Microsoft purchased them for $95 a share. The whole company right now is only worth about $82, $83 a share. So Microsoft paid more than what the company was worth, but technically they didn't pay what the company was worth, because before the scandals and everything else that came out about the toxic workplace culture and Bobby Kotick's craziness, that company was worth over $100 billion. So technically Microsoft saved $30 billion doing it this way. And I'm pretty sure some of the investors that, $30 billion, that's still a lot of money. There might be some investors that might want to have something to say and try to say, no, do I want more for what, because they want to see the company worth more. But I'm just really curious what's going to happen in the long run with all the litigation. That's why I'm just quelling my excitement, because I want to first make sure that this deal goes through, because dude, there's a lot of IP there. Everything you named off gets me excited. Spyro, Crash Bandicoot. We might see the resurgence of World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft used to be the premier PC-based RPG. I didn't know anybody who wasn't playing it that was on the PC. But also there's those that's what I was saying. There's those unspoke of titles. Like they had Dreadpool. I pointed this out last night on the Shop podcast, and them. We're talking Activision has a pedigree and an experience in dealing with comic book based IPs from the Marvel universe. I even think the DC universe and some other couple pop culture universes. Everybody always says Microsoft needs an Xbox game. That Microsoft needs a comic book game, specifically something from Marvel. But now I never really could put my finger on what developer underneath their current umbrella before Activision could do that. And now with Activision, they have at least a couple developers that they can pick from that have experience in dealing with an IP of that nature. So this is going to open up so many doors for them, especially also with, I think it was in the DMs, I forget who pointed it out for the group DM here, that they also bought a sporting game developer. So now we're going to probably see Microsoft get their toe in the water with sport games, kind of like with Sony did with MLB The Show.
Well, I don't know. No, it wasn't a sports game. What came with Activision-Blizzard was Major League Gaming, the actual organization, like esports.
Okay. Oh, shit.
Esports
My bad,
itself.
I misunderstood that.
No. They actually bought the organization. They can make a big push and have a huge like social media streaming presence with MLG, whether it be for Call of Duty. They can push Halo. They can push Overwatch. Like, damn, like there's a lot of different facets to this that people don't realize at first. You have to like skim through the details. Again, it's not just Call of Duty. There's a lot of stuff here that if you go through, like, what have we been talking about that Xbox or Microsoft could need, right? What has Phil talked about, for example? Phil's talked about wanting, more like family-friendly, like games and that kind of stuff, right? Looking for like developers and stuff to, fill that hole. They have a lot of IP in their own library itself, but when you look at this, they add Spyro and Crash Bandicoot, plus like the Crash Team Racing games along with that. And
they also have Guitar Hero, which was a huge family like entertainment. Like
Bill mentioned Guitar Hero too by name.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It'd be insane if
why would you do that if you're not even interested? If that one, I didn't even think that would be a possibility, just because of all the licensing that goes into it now. But
well, yeah, you think about it too. Plus, like, you haven't seen big peripheral games really make a comeback yet. They were a thing. Maybe 2 generations ago.
There was that Rocksmith one a few years back, but.
Yeah, it was like, during the PS3, Xbox 360 day, Nintendo Wii, like, those were huge. Everybody seemed to be into, like, Guitar Hero or something, which is great, Rock Band and so on.
So I had one thought about Guitar Hero that I haven't told anybody, but now with the invention and almost the popularity of VR starting to pick up, could you imagine Guitar Hero VR?
No, Xbox. Not yet.
See, but not yet. But I'm just saying, like, in the future, if Xbox went that direction, could you imagine putting on a headset like back in the day? It was just that screen where you would sit there and you would see the buttons you would push for the instrument. But they tried to simulate the crowd and the other stuff of being on stage. And now they could take that to a whole new level because essentially proverbials are starting to make a comeback like that guitar. People are wanting, like we saw how everybody got excited with, I think it was Farpoint on PlayStation with the light gun. So it'd be very interesting to see the long-term effects of bringing back an IP like Guitar Hero and bringing it into the fold with VR. I think it'd create an insane experience.
Well, keep in mind, Satya Nadella chimed in, and he did drop some little tidbits about metaverse stuff, which, I know that's kind of like, a lot of gamers don't like that. But at the same time, companies are thinking about that. It's not just, Meta, Facebook. Microsoft is making a heavy play for this metaverse, and you need a huge, huge list of IPs to draw from. That's another reason why this is happening. It's not just for VR, but just for like metaverse stuff as a whole. And I don't know, like, it doesn't mean anything right now, but like 10, 15 years from now, guys, it might be pretty big. I'm just saying. But man, there's still so much to get through here with this deal. Shock Buddy, I know that you were just chiming in there a couple of seconds ago. Like, what do you think of all this? Like, I'm pretty sure you're like all of us. You saw like all the, our phones were going off the hook with like different beeps. Our DM had like multiple posts of, Activision-Blizzard. I just kind of looked and I was like, oh, wow, what the heck? What was your thoughts going through your head about this?
Yeah, like, it was, because like what in the years past people were thinking about, like when they would say things like EA or like Take-Two, you'd be like, there's just no way those are too big. And in reality, those are much smaller as far as like how much it would cost to like purchase them than like Activision. No one even brought up Activision. They'd bring up EA and Take-Two, but I've never heard anyone ever say like mention Activision of like, yeah, maybe they're gonna go after Activision, just because it just seemed like such a ridiculous buy. And when you hear that $68.7 billion, that's ridiculous. But I think it's just a more of like a kill shot across the back. They're definitely trying to still keep Sony in the mix. They're not trying to. I don't know. Who knows? We didn't think after Bethesda we were going to get a bigger purchase than Bethesda. But
I did.
I don't think they're trying to bury him, because if they buried him, then that would cause an issue, because it's kind of like when Microsoft tried to keep Apple in the business when Apple was in a bad spot, because if Apple went down, then Microsoft's a monopoly and probably would have been, potentially like split up with their software. So I think them keeping in Sony, and like he was talking about keeping a healthy Sony and Nintendo and keeping everybody else out, still allows them to be like a dominant force, but not so much one that they get like broken up. If Nintendo and like Sony went out, then they'd probably have to split up Activision and Microsoft, and Xbox, and break it up if they were the only, console market. At that point, it would be a monopoly. But yeah, I think their plan is probably going to be doing what they did with Bethesda. He said that line of, you'll see these games on platforms where Game Pass exists.
Yeah.
Other than stuff like ESO, like Bethesda had, you'll have stuff like that, like Warzone. Warzone will probably stay like where it is because it's free to play. It's just kind of an always online thing. And then you'll see the regular Call of Duty. And I think that, like he was mentioning it, like, hey, we're going to take a break. You're not going to have every single, like right now, they have all of their support studios, like the Tony Hawk dev and a few other devs, like helping out, pretty much just purely making Call of Duty. So looks like he's going to give them a break, give them options of what they want to do, maybe space out those releases, and make those just go right into Game Pass. It makes people said like, but how are they going to get their money back? That's too much money. I'm like, no, it wouldn't make any sense. Then you would just put Starfield. You would make your money back with the other $7 billion purchase. Like, you would make Starfield an exclusive. You would just put it on PlayStation. It makes no sense, and and that's the thing. They also already made back in profit in one quarter that Bethesda purchase. Like, I get that that's Microsoft as a whole, not Xbox, but still, like, they have so much money to freaking burn. It's not. It doesn't mean as much to them as what you think it means, and they're playing a long game. People think they need to get the money back in the next couple of years. No, they don't. They're not playing with short money. Like, that's not what's happening.
Well,
but
Eric,
they're about to have a
people
dominant force.
People forget that when Xbox bought Minecraft and Mojang, for like what, $2.2 billion, they made that back within like 3 or 4 months. Like, this is chunk change for them. It doesn't matter. I mean, okay, Activision, it is a lot of money, but they have a lot of money. This isn't even their overseas money.
They were going to spend $50 billion, wasn't it $50 billion on TikTok? Weren't they in the running? I forget what it was. I forget how much it was. Or one of them was 50. I forget. One of them was $50 billion. I can't remember.
Well,
or something.
They can make this back in like 5 years, 4 years maybe. They could make back the $70 billion as a corporation, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
It's only 3% of their actual value, so they're fine.
Yeah, and and that wasn't even half their cash on hand.
Mm-hmm.
Like not just like what they're worth and what they can borrow and credit on themselves, just pure cash, liquid cash that they have on hand to spend. It wasn't even half of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, but yeah, this is definitely going to be a compelling. When people joked around, and I probably didn't take it seriously, of like, hey, Xbox is going to win like hardware wise this gen, and I don't know if they would still, because they give you the choice of PC and Xbox. But with the casual, they could probably get the casual market with some of those people that just pick up Call of Duty every year. They probably don't care to pick up a S, because they don't probably care that much, because that's all they play. Are they really going to be looking at like pixel counting? Let me get that thing. Let me get Game Pass, and okay, that's where Call of Duty is. Cool. I'm not buying a PS5. I'll just pick that up for $300.
I'll say this, that they know that, okay, there's these, again, these semiconductor issues that are, very prevalent right now. But they know that in about a year and a half, however long that it takes, more consumers are going to have the availability to get these consoles, right? And then things will really be picking up this gen. Again, it's very hard to find a Series X or a PS5, of course. But when the actual, like, really, the masses, the casual consumers come, they're gonna, try and figure out, okay, well, where can I get my regular games that I can get, like Call of Duty and so on, Overwatch, where can I get that for the next gen? It's not gonna be on PlayStation. It's gonna be on Xbox. That's the only console. So this is, I mean, as much as it is about software, as much as it is about IP library, and Game Pass, it's also a push for hardware. I mean, they're not stupid here. They're not fooling around. Shock, when you said it's a shot across the bow, I mean, maybe not on purpose. Like, maybe it sounds a little too harsh, but at the same time, they know what they're doing. Like, this is an aggressive move. Like, they're not kidding around here at all. You look at the studios they're picking up, guys. They have Activision Shanghai, Beanox. They made those Transformer games, I believe, like fantastic games. Demonware, Digital Legends Entertainment. I think that's a mobile studio. High Moon. Oh no, sorry, that High Moon's the one that made the Transformer games. Infinity Ward, Radical Entertainment, Raven, Sledgehammer, Solid State, Toys for Bob, Treyarch. Man, there's a lot of studios here with some, they made some pretty awesome games in the past. I mean, a lot of them have been just doing Call of Duty work or support studio work, which is a shame, but damn, I mean, these are some really interesting pickups here. MLD Bud, where, I would love to hear your commentary on this. Like, again, everything that was going on, like in the DMs, like Tuesday was just lighting up. The past week was just insane. What are your thoughts on all this?
Oh, okay, my pleasure. What to say? Well, I'm happy that they made me feel like a kid on Christmas morning. They brought back that childlike wonder when you wake up and have this complete shock and surprise. that no one saw coming, mind you, because I was under the impression they only go after private companies. Less red tape, easier to get it done. This is a public acquisition. This breaks tradition.
I told you that.
I know.
You that.
I
And
know.
I told you that it wouldn't leak. You said no, that everybody would find out about it. I said no. I said not with the NDA. This is a $2 trillion company. You gonna risk your life? All right. Nobody knew about it. Yeah.
If I had to guess, it's because of all the controversies going on. You know, what you guys said before, shaved off $30 billion on
All the
stock
court
value.
paperwork for everything, Activision was like under some kind of code word. The guy I listened to went and pulled up all the paperwork for the acquisition, and Activision is referred to under a code word because they didn't want people to know it was Activision.
Well, I think that Microsoft clearly saw an opportunity, a very small window of opportunity that they had to act on, and yeah, well, I'm glad they did because once you take it all in, once you see that yes, the news is very much real. You look at just let's put it this way: content is king, and in the future, when everyone's gonna have their own game subscription, and everyone who's listening, you may not like that, but I think that's where the industry is going. Xbox wants to be on top, and they own some of the most cherished and time-tested names in gaming history, many of which we grew up on, and now many of us are parents, or we're gonna put those games off on our kids, and they're gonna love these games all the same. Like they own like StarCraft. That was one of my most cherished games of my childhood, and now Xbox. It's like Xbox just gets me yet again.
Maybe we can get StarCraft Ghost.
Fine, yeah,
Finally.
Yes.
yeah. People were actually speculating about that too, because now, what is it? There's talks that the Call of Duty developers, the support studios may break off and make their own games, and which is great. Yeah, give us another Tony Hawk, give us another Crash, give us another Spyro. Make a Banjo game. If Rare doesn't want to do it, get Toys for Bob to make it. Done.
Mhm.
Xbox needs family-friendly games. Now you got them. So there's just so much potential here. Like now we have not one but two of our own in-house MMOs, or at least we will once the deal closes with Warcraft, Elder Scrolls Online. Who knows what the future holds? We might get a World of Warcraft sequel. Who knows? Overwatch 2, Diablo 4. Like who knows? It might be up in the air if those games are going to be exclusive now, but we'll see. We'll see. But I think it's just the short-term benefits. It's gonna be slow. Right now, I think all we're really gonna see is like the Game Pass dump. Guys, think of this: E3 2023. If the deal closes just before E3, they're gonna drop. Think about it: like several dozens of Game Pass games day one from the back catalog. That's insane. Like you look at say PS Plus or PS Now, how much the games they put out for a year. That one day for the backlog will output both those competing services combined for the entire year in just one day. Like just think about that. Like I'm probably gonna marathon a few of the Call of Duty campaigns. I haven't played yearly Call of Duty campaigns since the Modern Warfare one 2 years ago. But I'm gonna play some campaign games now. Like I'm looking forward to that. Like it just the Diablo 2 remake. I'm gonna play that when it hits Game Pass. The value will be insane. It will be unmatched. When Series X launched with what people like to tease how Series X launched with 0 games, like just Gears Tactics. That will never, ever happen again with all these studios working for Xbox. It is insane. It changes the entire game. Is it a monopoly? Absolutely not. They even said it's only third. Even when the deal closes, they are still behind Sony and Tencent.
Yeah.
You can,
Which means they're trying to get another acquisition.
Yeah.
They jumped Nintendo.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I'm sure Phil Spencer and all their lawyers, they did their due diligence. I think they know they can make this work. Because that's all they have to argue, is that even with the acquisition, they're still by far from the top revenue maker in gaming.
No. What they're gonna argue the same thing that Sony argued to get Crunchyroll, even though they own Funimation and the other one. Because what Sony said was, well, yes, we'll be in control of anime distribution, but anime is just a subgenre of of motion picture media. So
Right.
anime is only like 2% of motion picture media. So even you can't say that if we own 2% of the market or less than 2% of the market that is a monopoly, and that's why it was approved. So now Microsoft is gonna say, well, technically, console gaming is not it's not recognized by the law as its own thing. It's all interactive entertainment. So if you put all interactive entertainment on the board, from VR gaming to console gaming to PC gaming to mobile gaming to cloud gaming, Microsoft, even with this deal, won't even own 5% of the overall market. So how the hell is it a monopoly? They can buy three more publishers. I'm telling y'all right now. Like, go on my Twitter. There is like 40 big publishers within the range of 500 million to billions of dollars. There's no way the market. There's more people making games now than ever before. So you got to look at all the indies, all of the big publishers, all of the platform holders, Valve, things like Valve and stuff, Epic, Tencent. Like, there's no, if Tencent is not a monopoly, how the hell is Microsoft one when Tencent is making more money than Microsoft from gaming?
We all know the reason to that. It's because Xbox bad, PlayStation good.
Exactly.
Yeah, pretty much.
But don't worry, that next acquisition gonna hit them real soon. Cause I know y'all thinking, oh, this is gonna take forever. It's not gonna take as long as y'all think it is. Because like I said, it's a foolproof plan because they just approved Sony's deal a year ago. And like I said, Sony did, like, I thought they were never gonna approve Sony. Cause remember they put a hold on it. They was like, no, whoa, we gotta look at this. How can you own Funimation and still want to get Crunchyroll? But they had to put it through because if you want to be technical, anime isn't its own thing. Like, it's part of motion pictures. Just like console gaming and mobile gaming in the eyes of the law is all interactive gaming. They don't separate it. So unless somehow getting Take-Two, Microsoft will be in control of. Now if they buy Valve, that would be closer to a monopoly than Take-Two because Valve, they own the Windows store and then they'll own the biggest store on PC as well. So that would be closer to a monopoly. They'll monopolize computers for gaming sales. That would be more suspect than if they bought Take-Two. That's why I said these people are going crazy. They're going to be real sad because, listen, Microsoft don't give a damn whose feeling they hurt. Just like Disney didn't give a damn who feeling they hurt when they bought Star Wars or Marvel and all. They just thinking, look, we gotta get a subscription because that's renewed. That's every month you get reoccurring revenue for doing nothing. Some people won't even play games. Some people would just use it like a gym membership, where some people have a gym membership for years and never go to the gym. Some people just have a Game Pass membership just in case. And it just be there like how they do Netflix. Yeah.
The truth is too, guys, that everybody's acquiring everybody right now. Everybody is, loading up stock, loading up their IP libraries. What was it, last year? Not too long ago, actually. EA bought Codemasters. That was a lot of money. Probably what, $3 or $4 billion.
I think it was 1 billion.
Yeah, something like that. But that's pretty, still pretty big. And then who was it?
Only Sony out there robbing people, buying Insomniac for $200 million. Insomniac should be ashamed of themselves.
Yeah.
Like, give me a break. Sony literally highway robbed, and notice all of the new acquisitions. They never announced how much they spent. They out here lowballing these suckers, man, and they just like yes. Like, what are y'all doing? People out here getting billions, and you giving for 200. Insomniac was worth at least $1 billion. They're out of their damn minds. But like I said, hey, it's cool. Go down with the ship. We over here in the iceberg. Go down with the Titanic.
Well, Xbox is doing what everybody else is doing, except they're just being more aggressive. Again, EA's doing some stuff.
Oh.
You got who was it that bought Gearbox? Was it
Embracer Group?
Yeah, Embracer Group. Embracer Group has been super aggressive.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
31 studios last year.
If I could hop in, I think it's interesting. Everybody thinks that Sony doesn't get aggressive. When I read some tweets earlier this week with a gentleman that I fully agree with, that has pointed out that now the gentleman had been gaming since day one, and he pointed out that let's look at, if we want to call out the word monopoly, Nintendo, a Japanese-based game company, completely almost locked down the gaming market until the rise of the Sony PlayStation, which was yet another Japanese-based video game company. And he pointed out that the industry has been completely dominated by Nintendo and Sony, and that as soon as Xbox tried to come in and give their 2 cents as the Western hardware developer, it was like all of a sudden like bad juju. And he pointed out that during the time of the reign of Nintendo and Sony paid absolutely insane amounts of money to keep IP off of the Sega Dreamcast. We all saw what happened in the Sega Dreamcast. We have seen some of the same tactics that Microsoft is using right now used against them before all this ever happened. It's almost like Microsoft learned these tactics from them, but now all of a sudden, because Microsoft is doing it, it's all bad. And it's like the stigma of, I just don't like how all of a sudden Nintendo and Sony are infallible, but anytime Microsoft does anything, we're getting out the rule books. We're over here saying all of a sudden, like, dude, ever since Microsoft bought Activision, we've gone from pocket watching people on Twitter to all of a sudden everybody's an antitrust lawyer.
Exactly. And the whole reason is because they just they're comfortable with PlayStation being number one. This is what I tweeted out yesterday where people agreed. It was like the same people who were talking about monopoly today had no problem with PlayStation trying to kill Xbox off in 2014. Remember, this is how you share games on PlayStation and all of that extra nonsense. Microsoft the Xbox brand nearly died. So wouldn't that be an ecto factor monopoly without Xbox to compete against PlayStation? Because Nintendo is in a whole different realm with portable gaming. So my point is, last generation, they had no problem with Xbox. Nobody needed an Xbox. They had no games. Xbox is trash. Why would I buy an Xbox? So y'all wanted no competition for Sony. Now they're giving Sony more than they can handle. Now it's bad. Now y'all want to change the rules. Now it's not fair. Now you're supposed to do when somebody tells me something about, oh, they need to do it organically, like what Sony does. I said, tell me which law did Microsoft break?
Organic is not purchasing Insomniac. That is not organic. That's inorganic. It's literally, look it up. It is not organic.
They did the same thing. They did the same thing with Kevin Durant.
Well, look,
they did the same thing with Kevin Durant.
Sony's been doing the exact same thing. The only thing about Sony, what I can credit them for, is that they did it early. Whereas Microsoft, guys, like, the truth is, like, we were on Microsoft and Xbox to do this for years and years, and finally they started to do it back in 2018, 2017, which it's fantastic, and we're starting to see the fruits of the labor there. It's just, it took them so long to get it that they needed to be this aggressive, and now they're on top of it.
I think Sony just got caught flat-footed at the beginning of the generation. They were sitting back, sitting pretty, resting on their laurels because they like, yo, we dominated last gen. Xbox has no games. They only have Halo to launch, and Halo got delayed. So we're good. But then here comes the Bethesda purchase. That caught them off guard. We're like, we good. That's a blow, but we're fine. We don't need to compete with Game Pass. We don't even need anything else. So for a whole year, they've been quiet on Game Pass. They've just been buying no-name studios and stuff like that. Now here comes this Activision thing, and they caught them by surprise because they've been operating for the last 20 years on the presumption that Microsoft thinks of Xbox as a side project and they won't invest in them. Because like I said, if you look at the size of the company, Microsoft, you know that they have the capital to invest in them. So they were just basically hoping Microsoft never gets serious because they've been poking the bear for years. Y'all said it, even with this is how we believe in generations. He did that to try to catch Phil Spencer after Xbox was getting all the slack for cross-gen and being transparent. They tried to catch Xbox with that. They tried to catch Xbox with the they remember they said that the PS5 was going to be $500 as well, but after they seen how Xbox came out with $500 first, they undercut them with $400. And also, like I said, they just been doing some grimy stuff throughout the years. Street Fighter, Spider-Man, and Marvel's Avengers DLC, you can't get that on Xbox. They just been doing stuff.
Well, they're also trying to make them not a viable platform. It like before Bethesda, before they locked down Bethesda, they were trying to lock up every single like Bethesda game coming out.
They wanted
Ghostwire,
Starfield as well.
Deathloop,
Yeah.
Starfield, and now they get Final Fantasy. They're trying to lock up almost everything to where, yeah, it might come to Xbox in a year, but by that point, it's like, well, why do I even get an Xbox when all the third parties I'm gonna have to wait a year?
Exactly. Look at
They're
Square
trying to
Enix.
knock them out.
They wanted to knock out Forspoken is a 2-year exclusive. Like they 1 year isn't even enough for them anymore. They want 2-year exclusive. They don't want Final Fantasies to ever touch Xbox. They've been doing grimy stuff for years, and that's why I don't feel sorry for them. And I damn sure don't feel sorry for their fans who championed and cheered it on for years. When they tore Xbox a new one for the Rise of Tomb Raider timed exclusive. Oh, that's bad for gamers. That's bad for gamers.
Yeah.
Well, Final Fantasy 15 launched day one on Xbox. Why the hell is 16 not doing it? Why is nobody complaining about it? Why is it that Xbox gamers can get kicked and treated like shit and nobody cares? But soon as PlayStation gamers miss out on 1, 2, it's the poor game, Monopoly. No. Guess what? Buy an Xbox. Y'all told us to buy a PlayStation, buy an Xbox. Play on your TV, play on your fridge. I don't care. But at the end of the day, what you're not going to do is get any sympathy from me. And I'm done.
Stereotype is that Xbox the gamers don't go to Xbox for JRPGs, fighting games, because Street Fighter 5 is in Xbox, and that's because of Sony's tactics. Sure, it's not as big as buying a whole publisher, but gamers now have the stigma about Xbox not being the place for certain genres all the same. So I think in the end, they're just mad that Xbox is doing what Sony does, but on a far grander scale, and they can't take that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's what it is. They did it on a way bigger scale.
It reminds me of the Golden State Warriors, where LeBron fans are mad that Kevin Durant played the game that LeBron played just a little better. LeBron set up a super team.
Well, I didn't join a 76-win team.
Yeah, exactly.
Mad because he went to a better team.
Right there, they're moving the goalposts. Now they're saying, well, he did a super team, but it wasn't like this. Just like right now, they're like, well, we wanted them to get exclusive. We told them to get exclusive, but what we wanted was them to do it in a certain way. Like, yeah, we didn't want them to go buy it. Like, dude, you're talking to the richest company in the world.
To choose how they do it. You wanted them to get them.
Yeah.
You got them.
Exactly. You wanted them to get games that have more games than anybody else. You should be happy, but now they're not happy. So that meant that you wasn't being genuine in the first place. You were disingenuous because you didn't want them to compete. You didn't want them to have games. You wanted to only be able to buy PS5, and that's the only platform you wanted to invest in. A lot of these people wanted a monopoly by Sony. They wanted Xbox to leave the console space. Remember they were bringing that up in the beginning of the generation. Man, don't you think Xbox just need to drop out? Man, Xbox, Xbox is like dog shit. Xbox players don't buy games. All of this nonsense. Now guess what? Like I said, Xbox gamers. We have the biggest company in the world, one of the second biggest company in the world behind our backs. And we know that if we invest in this platform, they're going to invest in us. And that's what I love to see.
I like how everybody keeps throwing the word organic out when, in my opinion, let's talk about organically grown. Uncharted, that's my game that drew me into the PlayStation ecosystem. I love Uncharted. That game, I feel, has been abandoned by PlayStation. They haven't been organically growing it in forever. I hope they kind of bring that back. Days Gone, another game that I thought would do great on PlayStation. Nope, that one's not going to be grown. That's not even going to get a sequel. But we're seeing a lot of money and time invested into characters from the Marvel universe. Well, I don't care what argument you have. That's not organically growing something. That was organically grown by Stan Lee and the creators that worked under him creating these characters. And Sony is just basically buying a license to use these characters to basically take advantage of how popular they are. That's not organically growing. That's just using money to your advantage. Same with Knights of the Old Republic. Star Wars, like you can make a whole different Star Wars game, but instead you're going to go remake Knights of the Old Republic and try to keep it exclusive. Is that organic? That's basically just remaking another game. Falls right in line with the concept of creating a director's cut and a remaster, something that Sony is very well known for. And once again, we're doing a remake of KOTOR, and that's where it just seems that I don't see where the organic argument stacks up for the fact that Sony hasn't been really doing anything too organic, in my opinion, internally, other than Horizon Zero Dawn. That game right there has me excited. That is a brand new IP that was organically grown over at Guerrilla Games. Definitely great concept of a game, and that's where Sony shines bright for creating concepts like that. But they don't do it very often. Like, everybody makes it sound like Sony's out here creating new IP every single day.
Well, even Guerrilla was they weren't created organically; they were bought. Like, I can't remember what year it was, but it's not like that studio itself, right?
I was trying to give Sony at least some benefit of the doubt.
The funny thing is, Guerrilla, which they hadn't released a bunch of games. They released EZShock for the Xbox and the PS2 at the same time. They released Killzone, the first one, and then they were bought by Sony. But had they not bought them, I think it was Eidos at the time, was looking. I think it was them or the Hitman devs. I know it was one of the devs at that time that was that had published, I think, Shellshock, and had them make that game. They were going to purchase them, and then we would add Guerrilla as a multi-platform studio, and they could have made some great games for both, the 360 and the PS3, but they didn't because they got bought up. So I mean, that wasn't organic. Like, sure, if they want to say the term of organic, because they're even taking that word and destroying its meaning. Because if you by the definition, if you look it up in like business, organic is like Sony Santa Monica, something internal where they the initiative, that's organic. If you buy anything, it's not organic. But I get what they're trying to say. It's not like, hey, you had no relationship. But guess what? Who had a stronger relationship, Bethesda and Microsoft, or Sony and Guerrilla? They had only made one game together when they bought them.
Mm-hmm.
And even so, like, what's the point?
That's
who cares? Yeah, where the game comes from.
If Microsoft bought Insomniac after Sunset Overdrive, then I guess that would have been organic.
Yeah, like I just don't get the point of the narrative. Like, they act all like this high horse kind of mentality, but like, who cares? Like, you want to sound intellectual at the water cooler? Like, who cares? Like, it's your game. As long as it's good, that's all that matters. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't like. There's so many different areas you can go in here, but I mean, they really caught Sony with their pants down. I mean, and by the way, guys, I've been seeing a lot of people like, oh, this isn't gonna affect Sony, blah blah blah. Sony lost like what, $25 billion the other day because of this. Their stock dropped. And before anybody says anything, I have both Microsoft and Sony stock. I mean, both companies, I mean, really, they're pretty good, but the Microsoft stock is pretty, it's actually pretty solid. But this affected Sony and PlayStation immensely. Like, you cannot believe like, one of their biggest...
It's not just Call of Duty sales.
No, it's not just
PSN sales. Because remember, Warzone doesn't require PSN. But if they take away Call of Duty, like the annual releases, that's where they get a lot of PSN subscriptions from casuals that only play Call of Duty.
Well, that's right. I read that they would lose about $230 million a year if it went exclusive.
Well, yeah, those casuals are gonna go over to Xbox and the Xbox ecosystem because again, they're only gonna be able to play the future COD games. I mean, I know that they're trying to like be very careful with their wording right now, and not everything has officially gone through. It's gonna take a little bit of time, but believe me, we've seen what's happened with Bethesda and like the language that was being thrown around until things actually got closed. It's gonna happen with Activision, Blizzard, and King. Like, COD's gonna, in my opinion, COD is gonna be Game Pass exclusive, and I would not be surprised if Xbox was like, okay, I mean, you can put you can put COD and Activision games on your system. You just have to be open to playing it through Game Pass. I would not be surprised if that was the case. But because that's their weapon, it's Game Pass.
People aren't understanding that term. They saw, and it's funny that Sony had went and called Phil like, "Hey, quit playing," but because who's in control then, like who has Sony's like in control, like as far as like they're still number one, but they're why is first place calling third place, right? to make sure, hey, don't take that away from us. But in that statement, everybody just read it of Phil saying, yeah, don't worry, Call of Duty's going to stay. No worries. That's not what he's saying.
No.
And he can't say anything. All he said is, hey, we'll guarantee we'll fill out whatever, or finish out the agreement, then a contract, just like they did with Bethesda. And he said, and our desire to keep Call of Duty on there. Well, that first off, that can mean a bunch of different things. Warzone, that is still Call of Duty in a way, is still on the platform if they keep that on there. Or it could be also, our desire to keep it on there. Cool. Hey, Sony, we'll let you have it. You just have to allow, either Game Pass on there or whatever demand. They're not gonna just like put it on there and not get anything out of it. They're gonna like, okay, cool. Either you're gonna sweeten our percentage of our deal, or something. Like, we have the leverage there. We don't have to give it up. So it's probably not gonna be as clear cut. Sure, they have a desire, but desire means, again, it could be in Game Pass on there. Because like you said with Bethesda, where Game Pass exists, why would you spend $70 billion and not even have Game Pass part of the equation on that platform that you're going to put it on? That makes no sense. You're going to put it on a platform that doesn't even have an option of Game Pass. That defeats the whole purpose. Everybody says it's a Game Pass deal. Well, then why would you put it on that platform that negates and circumvents your whole strategy? Mm-hmm. Makes no sense.
I have a question for everybody. Do you guys think Sony is going to bend the knee and allow Game Pass, or do you think they're going to be too proud?
Hell no.
I don't think they're gonna do it because it would ruin their whole business model. Like they people would stop buying games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think they'll do it either, especially with their own competing service coming out. If people find out that Game Pass is more popular on PlayStation than Spartacus, there'll be a laughingstock.
Yeah, especially like you just said, MLD, especially with them getting their budding subscription service themselves on. I don't think they'd want a competing service, but Xbox is like, hey, again, we're good guys. We'll let you have it. You just gotta put Game Pass on there and play through streaming, whatever. No, I can't imagine Sony playing nice that way. Nintendo, however, I mean, obviously there's limitations to the Nintendo Switch, but I mean, there's already games that like you have to just play using like streaming in the cloud. So I wouldn't be surprised if they worked out something with Nintendo for like Game Pass wise. I don't know. They seem to be getting a close relationship there. But no, not Sony. Sony, it's a different kettle of fish entirely. They will not. I can't see them doing
Plus,
that.
how is that going to work with the third parties that are on Game Pass? Are you going to have is yours just, you got a lesser version of it on that platform, I guess? Well, I guess that could work because the EA Play that was finally went to PlayStation didn't have all the EA backwards compatible titles because they couldn't put the PS3 version of Dead Space on there. So you paid the same price for less. So I guess it could be, but
Mm-hmm. Go ahead,
I
can
cut the service a little bit.
No, in general, I can finish real quick.
No, I was just saying, yeah, they will have to gut the service a little bit to kind of make it fit PlayStation. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Go ahead.
Well, that's where, I don't know, maybe I'm like on a different mountaintop with the whole situation. We've seen we've even seen games that are enhanced on the Xbox side that are not enhanced over on the PlayStation side. There is some quip, like I think what is it, like Psychonauts 2 over there, it's just the base version of the game, like what you would get. They didn't even get a PS5 version of Psychonauts 2. The way I look at it is Microsoft knows the importance of having Sony in the industry. They've even commented on Sony's importance in the industry. And the whole reason why I say about that is, it's the whole idea of fight the enemy, not the, does that make sense? Fight the enemy, we all know what Sony does. We all know that Sony's direction and avenue for gaming is actually kind of different than Microsoft's. They prefer their games to be these major, almost motion picture-esque style games that a lot of times are entertainment or pop culture based. It's like watching a movie. But now let's talk about some of the other players that have kind of showed their face. We've got Amazon and Google trying to come out and create services to compete. Tencent is on the prowl looking for a way to expand because they were pretty much cut off at the knees by the Chinese government and how gaming now works over there in that world. I would not want to see, for starters, a company like Activision go to a Google or an Amazon or a Tencent, because then it would really become something we wouldn't even recognize, for starters. I think this benefits Sony in the fact that, I'm sorry, get mad at me in the chat, but Sony could never afford Activision. It benefits Sony, though, that Microsoft can buy Activision, and they actually do have somewhat of a, I don't want to say good standing with Microsoft, but Microsoft respects them as a competitor. They understand the position that they fill in the gaming industry. And I think there is a part of Microsoft that wants to try to keep Sony around because they don't want to complicate things. I've heard a lot of rumors from people in certain groups that talk about that we could possibly one day see Amazon make a move on Sony. They have pockets just as deep as Microsoft. Microsoft could not buy Sony because then you would be getting into monopoly territory. So I'm pretty sure Microsoft wants to nurture Sony and keep them to stand on their own 2 feet and not make it to where they're going to start looking at other companies to help them out and don't even think about somebody like Google or Amazon acquiring Sony. I'm just wanting to say that that Call of Duty does have a small potential of remaining being almost like a testing game, because we're talking about something that has a huge fan base, and Microsoft at this time wants to expand services. They want to expand the money that they make, and we got to remember Microsoft Gaming, that whole title, Microsoft Gaming. We could be going completely beyond the Xbox at this point, and Microsoft could in a small way be a publisher of certain games that would be on multiple platforms, but the exclusivity would be the free updates to the game. They're not going to try to charge you for having that next gen upgrade. The games could be completely optimized better to work on our consoles. Also, we're going to have that Game Pass effect. It's really funny. Who's going to be like, oh, I'd rather pay $70 over here than pay $15 over there? The affordability of what Microsoft offers is going to be their big driving force in the industry.
Yeah, well said.
I think in the end, Sony's not going to go anywhere. I mean, we're all Xbox guys here, but in the end, I think it'll cause a more of an equilibrium. Kind of like how the 360, PS3, Wii. I feel like that gen, everybody won. No one really lost that gen. I feel like we're going to move towards that right now, where Nintendo, they're having fun doing their own thing, and now Xbox they'll gain their footholds. But in the end, Sony, they got mainland Europe in their pocket. They always have. I think they always will. They have parts of Asia that'll always be in their pocket, and Xbox will always struggle to get parts of Asia on their side. I feel like it's just going to even things out. And who knows what the future will hold. But
this is going to create great cooperation between these companies to help keep some of the bigger new players from wanting to get too deeply seated into trying to get into the industry. That's where I say it benefits Sony and Nintendo to basically say, hey, we've all competing against each other for a very long time, but now there's new players on the field. These companies should have some degree of cooperation to basically try to keep new players from basically interjecting chaos into what is, like you say, a balanced situation.
Well, again, Xbox and Microsoft, they weren't necessarily worried about Sony or Nintendo. They were worried about Google and Amazon. They've said that much before, and well, you look at Google with the bloody Stadia, and well, they can't manage anything. Then again, they had Phil Harrison, and not exactly the brightest bulb there. So, but
well, we saw how Phil Spencer came out and released that tweet about, wanting to let people know about the Call of Duty staying on Sony and everything. Yeah, there's probably reading in between the lines there, and it's probably vague for a reason. But he released that tweet because, like you said, they were losing $20 billion in stock because of the fact that everybody thought all these games were going exclusive. There was no point in investing. And Phil Spencer came out and released that tweet to get Sony investors to basically calm down and stop doing that, because they didn't want all of a sudden Sony to be able to walk in and be like, look, they just announcing this deal cost us X amount of dollars. And he was basically trying to stop that with just a tweet.
If Sony drops too low, then they don't want Amazon or one of these big companies to come in and swoop up Sony.
Mm-hmm.
You see, like it's basically the enemy, like what you said. Hey, I trust Sony and Nintendo. They've been in this space for a long time. I trust them over somebody who can actually compete with us money-wise. Like, see, the thing that Microsoft will never admit is they like being at the table with Nintendo, Sony, and them, because they all do different shit. But Sony and Nintendo can't compete with Microsoft money-wise. So you want to keep those as your competitors, because now you don't have to worry about, hey, this person, can this company outspend us for any reason, like any changes in the industry or something like that. So what they're trying to do is they don't want to kill Sony, because killing Sony isn't good for business. Like, you need to have alternatives to, like, not just for legal purposes, but also for, you gotta feel like,
well, you need competition.
Exactly. Without competition, what's gonna happen is it's not going to be healthy for the industry. If somebody doesn't like Xbox and Xbox is the only thing around, then they're going to just stop gaming. And you don't want that. You know what I'm saying? You want to grow the industry, not shrink it. So I think that they just prepared. They know that the industry is going to grow because of look what's happening. With Netflix trying to get into the industry, Amazon just released their first game ever, the computer game, what you call that thing?
New World,
New World or whatever. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I could understand why Microsoft and they told them 2 years ago, listen, we don't view Sony and Nintendo as our competitors. And what did the Sony PlayStation fanboys do? Go crazy. Y'all in last place. And you know what I said at that time? Microsoft could never be in last place to Sony. Y'all don't live in reality. Y'all live in the Matrix. Y'all think because they sell a little bit more boxes, Microsoft is 25 times bigger than Sony. Like, y'all talking about, when we talking about gaming. Well, I'm pretty sure the people at the top of Sony wouldn't give a damn how they get more money if they could take Microsoft's spot last generation and have a terrible generation, but make the money Microsoft make, they'll take it 100 times out of 100. But like I said, I love what Microsoft is doing, man. And like I said, I just want to sit back and watch the show, because I know they're not done. Mm-hmm. They can't be done.
No, they aren't. I can't imagine they are. Because, again, these... Don't forget, guys, these deals, they take years. I mean, for example, Bethesda, they were talking for several years. I mean, like 3 or 4, 5 years about, like, ongoing back and forth about, acquisition and stuff. And then it was only, like, later on, like the last, like, year or so that things really got heated. Who knows? I mean, obviously, this is going to take a while to get concluded, this deal with Activision-Blizzard, but I can't wait to find out the details of how long this actually took and, like, who started the talking and so on. But, these are long processes, especially when you're talking about such large, like, billion-dollar companies. Ever since this news dropped on Tuesday, now we got different outlets talking about, is Ubisoft going to be acquired? Is Take-Two going to be acquired? I mean, again, I can't say who that's going to be, but there's still a lot of different options for them on the table. I mean, ideally, if I was to look at what they lack, I mean, naturally, it would be nice if they got maybe Sega or Capcom. But as you were saying before, earlier on the show, Uni, just with the way that Japan's so protective of...
But, like with the government, you got to get government approval. And after what the government just seen what Microsoft did to Sony's stock just by spending money, would they really want to, like, help Microsoft, like, Sony? I doubt it. I really doubt it.
I don't think that law... I think that law is more for their if it weakens, like, their economy or puts their puts them at, like, a disadvantage, like, technologically wise. Like, I don't think it equates to, like, video games. Like, I mean, they have a Japanese studio,
Yes,
Like-
they do.
Yes, but but they got that from the ZeniMax thing, and
Like they wouldn't
that
allow
wasn't-
them to buy Konami
ZeniMax didn't buy
because
that.
Konami makes a lot of medical equipment
What I'm saying is
and things like that.
ZeniMax did not buy, what you call it, Tango GameWorks. They created it. So, like I said,
I'm just saying
Um,
that the law, like with the money they have, and if they just, and that's the other thing, they wouldn't even have to buy Sony. They could like, hey, at that point, if not that they would buy Sony, but like they could buy a company and just buy Konami's. Hey, Konami, can you sell us like your IP in any game studios that you actually still have people working at? They could separate that part and not buy the whole company. So if like that part of Konami wanted to sell, that'd probably be a smart place to start. But
Actually, yeah, that's a good loophole. Konami doesn't really do video game development nowadays. They're more into pachinko machines, Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
but then
Yeah, like-
they do a lot of medical equipment too. So that's where I could see like, yeah, if you took over that, then Sony's like, well, shit, they make a lot of our actual stuff that actually makes a difference in there. That's where their laws are set up so that way they can't be, their security as a country can't be, overtaken. Someone buying Square from them isn't going to disrupt that or put,
I just
risk
think if
that.
it was that easy, somebody would have been did it. I mean, they're literally everything that gaming like has been in the last 20 years. Like nobody bought any one of those Japanese gaming companies yet. Something seems off. Why Tencent didn't?
Well, I mean,
Why-
it must not be that hard because they actually flew all the way to Nintendo's offices. So I'm pretty sure they knew the law
And they
when
got
they went
laughed
over
out.
there. They got laughed at by Nintendo because Nintendo's like, well, we're not going to sell. Screw you. But like, as far as the potential, they wouldn't fly all the way out there and like, oh, really? We couldn't even buy them anyway. Oh, we're so stupid. Like they
I'm
knew
saying, like,
what the red
yeah, they
tape was
probably-
if there was any.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they can. Anything is possible. I don't want to sit here.
But
and
if you
say,
look at the laws, it's actually like for like security to their like country. Like, hey, if I bought up all of your telecommunication companies and then I just like gutted them or whatever and like really destroy your country, that's where they're set up. You taking away Resident Evil from them isn't going to cripple Japan. So that's if you look up the laws, they're not. You're going to find loopholes of okay, yeah, this doesn't equate to you protecting Capcom.
Yeah, it's just we're
It doesn't apply to 100% of all companies that are in Japan.
like if I
when you
look
look
at
it up.
if I look at Microsoft's grand strategy here, I mean, you got Bethesda, you got all these Western RPGs on lockdown now. You look at Activision, you have one of the biggest shooters and RTS and other titles, like lots of household names and mascots like Crash, Bandicoot, Spyro, and so on. I can go on and on. They got them on lockdown, North American Western favorites. The next piece of the puzzle, logically, again, would be something from out east, a Japanese publisher. They're very friendly with a couple of them. I think a lot that comes to mind is Sega. I mean, Sega can't be that much when you think about it.
Like a fraction. They're like maybe what 4 to
How
4 to
will
6
that push the
million?
needle? Remember what they're doing is it's Game Pass. Game Pass.
Yes.
How would
Yep.
Sega push the needle? Like I know how Activision's gonna do it with COD or whatever they can. If they're gonna spend billions of dollars, they gotta get something back. That's why I said Take-Two fills all of the boxes. They got Zynga now. so you
Capcom or
get
Square
mobile.
make probably the most sense if they could
Listen,
possibly pull them off.
You get mobile,
Big on Square.
right? So Zynga, you get the mobile market, which is the most lucrative market in gaming. Then you put that with King. Then you get all of the PC for PC Game Pass, which is highly lacking, and y'all know it. They're gonna get Civilization. They're gonna get XCOM and games like that, like huge PC games.
Yes.
So then you get 2K.
Well, they're going to be a
and that's
force on
like-
PC.
Those
They
are
got
live,
that on
yeah,
that now.
exactly. Those
They
are
actually
live
have a
service
competent
games.
launcher.
So you got live service games like NBA 2K, and then you get BioShock for the single player games or whatever. Like 2K, you get Bully, you get all of those old IPs. that you can resurrect. Like 2K comes with everything they could possibly want for Game Pass, and I think that's exactly what they want more than anything.
Imagine though,
Game Pass is.
imagine what they can do with Game Pass if they use BattleNet, and now they have Diablo, and see if they can get Diablo wrapped up into Game Pass and make that tied into BattleNet, and obviously Blizzard can show them actually how to
They got Diablo,
make a competent client. And then if you put WoW on there, because remember it was like $15. It was like $15 a month, I think, for the WoW subscription. If they somehow tied that in there, that would boost the hell out of. There's because people love BattleNet, so they're not going to circumvent. Because that's what people do right now. They'll buy, hey, I'm just going to buy the game on Steam. I'm not going to mess with your Game Pass app. But if they tied in somehow BattleNet with Game Pass, well, PC players love BattleNet because that client works amazingly on PC. So they're not going to circumvent your whole system to go to Steam or something. They're going to play those big PC titles, StarCraft, the next Diablo, the next StarCraft, the next, WoW or whatever expansion.
Yeah. I said, like I said, and if they can pin all of that with 2K, like I know what you're saying, like Capcom, and those are great for single player games and stuff like that. I get it, and the legacy or whatever, and the Japanese market. But my point of saying that is, I firmly believe that if they get Take-Two, you're gonna have to like the demographics and the player population is gonna shift so massively towards Xbox that the Japanese game makers are gonna have to sell on Xbox. They won't be able to ignore it. It was easy to ignore Xbox in the PS4 era because they were getting sold 2-1, sometimes even more in certain areas like in Japan and stuff like that. But if remember, the console is only one part of the market of the ecosystem.
Right.
So you can have PC players with console players with mobile players. Let's say you get 100 million subscribers. How the hell are you gonna be a game maker and ignore 100 million subscribers? How? You can't. So at the end of the day, I think that you're gonna get the support from the third party Japanese game makers, regardless if you own them or not. They're not gonna be able to ignore you like how they did before with the PlayStation, because that they got away with it because, like I said, they know that they're not missing out on a lot of money. But in this generation, 99% of people who own a PS5 are gonna own an Xbox as well. So they're gonna, like I said, and plus with Game Pass and day one they put it in front of people, they're gonna have huge revenue streams. The more and more people get in, we're gonna see. Like I said, I highly doubt they're gonna go after Japanese. I think like if they want a Japanese game maker, they're gonna get one of those indie devs that they're working with for Game Pass. They said they're working with 200 plus indie devs for game development right now.
Or invest in Tango, just grow it out, make more dev teams, and hire and coach talent.
Thank you. You don't need like because a lot of those Japanese IP.
You got Shinji Mikami. He brings in a lot of those. He's going to bring in talent. He has connections.
A lot of those Japanese IP are not really viable, like on a big scale. Like, yeah, Yakuza is a great game, but are you going to sell 25 million Yakuzas? You know what I'm saying? Like, is Yakuza going to drive 10 million new scubs? No. Like, Persona. Like, Persona is probably one of the best ones. So I can't say that one. But let's go Capcom. Like, Resident Evil, is that going to drive 10 million people just to come to Game Pass just because of Resident Evil? Doubt it. Maybe Monster Hunter World, but other than that, like, that's billions of dollars for nothing but just name brands. That's all it is. Like, but are they going to be, like, viable for future? Like, but like I said, it depends on what they can get, what deal they can get. I firmly believe that.
It's funny that people think that the 8 million that it grew was. I was saying that, that's slow. I'm like, what did they release? Halo, that you didn't even need Game Pass to play the free multiplayer, and there was no co-op, so all Game Pass was giving you was a single player with none of those things, and Forza. That was it, and they grew 8 million in a year. Think about what's about to happen when you have all these heavy hitters just rolling out with all of these dev teams. They're going to grow way more than 8 million in a year.
Yeah,
in 2 years at that slow rate, it would be past PSN subscriptions.
Yeah, that is the goal. That would be amazing if we can do it in like 3 years or less.
It'll
Yeah.
probably be 2 years. They're gonna start packaging Call of Duty on every box.
Watch when Starfield drops and you can play that day one.
It's gonna be
Watch the subscription.
$199. In about 2 years, it's gonna be $199.
PC Game Pass 2, I think, is going to skyrocket, especially when these when Diablo and Warcraft all hit PC Game Pass. It's going to be huge.
Well, people forget that about the three-pronged attack. It's not just about the console, right? Again, like people are fixated on the console part. It's important. I mean, these are going to drive console sales. But again, it's about the ecosystem that's on the console. It's about the ecosystem that's a part of on the PC and the ecosystem that they're growing with as a part of the xCloud as well. You know, it's a three-pronged attack. And, you know, some people just aren't seeing the grand vision of what Microsoft and Xbox are doing. It's gonna be lit in a couple of years, guys. I mean, even just this year alone, like Starfield is gonna see a huge increase. And we don't even know all the games that they're gonna have at the tail end of this year. And then next year, who knows what's gonna drop as well. I mean, they have so many teams right now. It is unbelievable. They're growing, like, you look at a studio like Obsidian, they have like 4 or 5 different teams working on games right now, big and small. Just the productivity alone from that studio is going to eclipse a lot of what what Sony's doing just from the productivity angle. I cannot believe that we're going to be seeing games like, again, we don't even know actually with the whole Activision thing too. You know, with the injection from Microsoft, again, like whenever this deal closes, you're going to see games like the quality is going to pick up because, again, people forget that the games have been delayed. Diablo 4 and definitely delayed. StarCraft, if I'm not mistaken, as well, delayed.
They were just waiting on this news right here. That's all that was.
Overwatch 2. Overwatch 2 has been stuck in development hell, in my opinion, anyways. I mean, that game... I was excited when I saw the trailers for Overwatch 2, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, what happened to Overwatch 2? Where's that at?
Is this really bad?
That's what's going on. They're like,
and is this really bad for the industry? Because it didn't seem like it is. Because think about all those devs Activision has that are only making Call of Duty and just supporting Call of Duty. That's the only thing they're making. So now they're going to get taken off that, and they get to do whatever they want. And actually flourish and make all of the other games with whatever they want to create.
I think Toys for Bob even came out and said that they didn't see themselves as a support studio for Call of Duty, but now they are.
Let's not forget, like, they're saying how this is bad. Some people are saying this is bad for devs. They're seeking to clean up their workplace culture controversy. Xbox has a great studio culture, and if they can make theirs part of Activision's and make it one and the same, that is 100% great for developers.
Well, even these other studios too, that what you would call the support studios, like Raven Software.
People like Colin Moriarty think that the devs at Activision prefer to be under the boot of what's his name, Bobby Kotick, than Phil Spencer. He said it's bad for devs. I'm like, bro, easy for you to say you're not working there, you bastard.
Yeah.
Like the rest of these people suffering under this fool, and they probably doing backflips and celebrating, and you talking about it's bad because you more worried about your goddamn podcast for PlayStation content. That's what you're worried about.
Last night on the Shop podcast, we had a guest on there, Casante, and he said the best thing I've ever heard. He referred to Activision as the Call of Duty salt mine. Pretty much what they're turning into is the salt mines of Call of Duty. If they have dedicated everything to it.
What does Take-Two? The Grand Theft Auto salt mines.
Pretty much.
So that's what I'm saying. That's why they're gonna get bought. Watch, because the investors get very antsy when you're making a lot of money, but you don't have a diversified amount of revenue. Because what happens if Grand Theft Auto 6 isn't as popular as Grand Theft Auto 5 was, or it doesn't last as long as ever? Like they're gonna tank. So at the end of the day, it's best to get out now while you're on top. You don't sell when you're at the bottom, like Bobby Kotick and stuff like that. But to be fair, Take-Two been going through a lot of scandals and BS too recently. Like we heard about the Rockstar salt mines, coal mines, how Rockstar basically run people into the ground all the devs into the ground and all of that scandal stuff there, and like stuff like GTA remastered or whatever. Those were just basically cash grabs, and they, like I said, Take-Two is acting like a company that's about to be acquired. Everything that they're doing doesn't make sense. Like Grand Theft Auto is your biggest money maker. Why the hell would you put it out in such a horrible state? It makes no sense. It looks like they're just trying to get money right now, quickly before an announcement. But we'll see.
Well, Xbox is off the market till I'd say 2024. They gotta be squeaky clean until this deal goes through.
Mm-hmm.
They can't buy anybody else while this thing's still going through approval.
Yeah, I wouldn't risk it because they also have that 3 billion clause where if this doesn't go through, they lose 3 billion. So.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay, well, we'll have to make.
So that's why I know it's going to go through, because they went through with a fine-tooth comb of making sure what's the chance this isn't going to go through. Okay, it's very slim. Okay, yeah.
The guy I listened to, Richard Hogue over at Virtual Legality on YouTube, amazing channel. He's actually a lawyer over in Michigan, and he's actually a corporate contract lawyer. And he even says that there's offices that you can go to at the FTC and the Department of Justice that you can go and have a sit-down conversation and say, hey, what's your guys' thoughts and opinions on us trying to do this? And they could definitely they're allowed to come in and ask, hey, are you guys going to basically have any issues with this? Do you guys foresee any problems in the long run? And they could definitely sit down and say, this is what we think would happen and blah, blah, blah. You can go and have discussions with them before you go and start shelling out all this money and get lawyers involved on a what if.
Mm-hmm. No, that's right. Somebody else brought up WB Games. They could look as a target in the near future because Warner.
I don't know if that one's worth it.
Yeah, but they literally said they're not selling, and they're overpriced. Like if Microsoft offered them $7 billion the last
they would
time,
need
why would
a license deal locked in there
exactly
for the inevitable future.
Why would you buy WB without any of the licenses? Like if you get the WB Studios and they don't come with the DC license or whatever the case may be, then it's a waste of time. It's just a waste of goddamn time.
Yeah,
and that's
if they want to just show off NetherRealm, maybe.
Yeah, just NetherRealm. Get Mortal Kombat and get out.
Get Ed Boon. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay.
Oh no!
Well, I hope they do that with Crystal Dynamics, and I hope they somehow convince Square Enix that they don't need Tomb Raider IP. Like if they could get Crystal Dynamics and the Tomb Raider IP, man, that'd be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Go with Perfect Dark and Hellblade 2. You know what I'm saying? Like.
Right.
Not that it matters, but I'm sure that the ladies want some representation too. And if they could get some badass female protagonists over an Xbox, you know what I'm saying? They don't have to just rely, because the 360 was the dude bro box. So I'm pretty sure they want to diversify their lineup, whatever. And like I said, I know Lara Croft would be perfect to go next to Joanna Dark and Senua. So I'm pretty sure they're eyeing that. Hopefully they can work something out.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, I would love to see. Obviously, we got Joanna Dark going on. I mean, I would like to see titles like Cameo get brought back in some way, shape, or form. I always enjoyed Cameo back in the day. I really hope that we see a Cameo 2 sometime or a reboot. I thought that there was a lot of cool ideas there. And yeah, I mean, that'd be cool. Lara Croft Tomb Raider. Obviously, the thing is, Xbox, you can tell that they really like the IP, because obviously they funded Rise of the Tomb Raider. Even with the original reboot, the Tomb Raider reboot back in 2012 or whatever, they had marketing rights to it, some free DLC maps, if I'm not mistaken. They really like this brand. So I mean, as far as Crystal Dynamics goes, after they're done with Perfect Dark, I would not be as surprised a scenario where if Microsoft was like, okay, we'll buy Crystal Dynamics, and you know what? How about that Tomb Raider IP as well? Because they just seem to.
And I was wrong when I said Sleeping Dogs earlier. That was with Square. I think someone had mentioned it on Spawnwave, and I was thinking they meant Activision, but.
Okay.
When I name dropped them earlier, I was like, oh wait, that's not Activision.
Yeah. But there's all kinds of possibilities, guys, with these IP. Like, everybody's always on Microsoft to make a kart racer. I mean, you already have all the Rare IP. Can you imagine getting like Crash and all the other characters from those titles in like Crash? Like, what is it? The Crash Team
Flash Kart
Racing.
Racers.
Oh yeah, that is
Crash Nitro Refuel, Crash Nitro, whatever. Yeah, Crash Team
Team
Racing,
Racing.
Nitro Refueled.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like I play that all the time with my girlfriend, to be honest with you, because like she grew up with like Crash and loves it to death. But like there is all kinds of like characters in there and worlds to go through. You got Spyro as well. I mean, I'm just thinking about like guest characters and everything. They have an IP treasure trove. You got Minecraft as well. I'm just thinking about all like the family friendly characters in their stable. I mean, like they could have a really solid hit here. Like,
The acquisition of Crash Bandicoot, sorry to interrupt, but the Crash Bandicoot acquisition in itself is, I don't want to say detrimental, but that was a low blow to Sony, in my opinion, because if the original PlayStation was started on games like Crash Bandicoot and Spyro the Dragon, and then an Uncharted 4, like Uncharted 4, The Thief's End, the first thing you do as Nathan Drake at home is you go downstairs and you play Crash Bandicoot on a PlayStation before he goes off and starts his adventure. So you literally play Crash Bandicoot in Uncharted, and that's why I think it's really interesting now that Crash Bandicoot is no longer going to be used in that way.
Yeah.
Right. And Naughty Dog made the original Crash Bandicoot games, did they?
Yeah, it was Naughty Dog. That's why Naughty Dog put it in Uncharted, because that's what they're doing now. And it was kind of like an homage, a tip to the hat of like, hey, this is what we used to do. This was how we got our start. But now it's interesting that now that when you like look at it from when PlayStation first started, how Crash Bandicoot got that console off the ground, to now Microsoft owns Crash Bandicoot.
Yeah, it's really poetic when you think about it. Like, you can't make this stuff up.
No, like both Crash and Spyro, that's pretty insane. Seeing those old PlayStation kind of mascots, just now they're Xbox mascots. It's yeah, that's pretty crazy. And then you got Banjo, who I mean I wouldn't exactly call him like a Nintendo mascot, but he kind of was, like sort of, like it's crazy. Like the amalgamation going on at Xbox right now. But even like I look at that, I look at the possibility for like kart racer. I look at the possibility for like even guest characters in a fighting game like Killer Instinct. I mean, like, Killer Instinct's perfect because you have all these different like styles, types of characters, and it's just perfect. They've already tested that. They've already done it with like Battletoads and like the Arbiter and General Ram and the last gen's Killer Instinct. Can you imagine, like, again, there's rumblings we've talked about before, rumblings of a new Killer Instinct. Like you see some of these Activision IP popping up in there too, like some guest characters. Like, I don't know, I'll say Soap McTavish just for just for the sake of it. But there's a lot of different possibilities here that like just to cross over to the games. It's nuts. Or you look at street racing games like Blur. Blur back in the day had a lot of good reviews, if I'm not mistaken. Xbox could bring that back if they really wanted to give like Forza a year break. Again, they have such a treasure trove of IP that they can utilize. It is insane. And I just don't think that. I mean, sure, Sony does have a lot of good IP, but the way that Xbox has been acquiring, I don't think that they can keep up. I really don't. Like, when you're talking about the Bethesda IP, the ZeniMax IP, and then you talk about Activision-Blizzard, it's insane. It's insane. That's not even mentioning, like, again, like Halo, Gears of War, and so on. I could go on and on rambling about this, guys. It's too much. But Phil talked about wanting to revive some Activision dead IP. What was it? He talked about King's Quest, Guitar Hero, which we mentioned earlier, even Hexen. I don't know if you guys had a good look through the IP list. Is there anything that you would like really love to see Xbox bring back?
Hexen for me. I want them to polish it up, make it 120 frames per second, whatever they got to do. Put that on Game Pass, test the waters, and make a new one. That game was so like that was something else back in the day.
Tenchu for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like Tenchu was one of the best games on PS2 for me, and I always act like, why the hell? Like we have no ninja games. Look, okay, Sony has Ghost of Tsushima. Microsoft bring back Tenchu. It'll appease to the Eastern market as well, the Asian market. And we need a great ninja game, man. Come on, bruh. I don't want to pay any more of that bullshit. Bandai Namco Naruto games or whatever. Like, come on, like get a Tenchu, man. Like a next generation Tenchu, man, would be off the chain, bro.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Tenchu games it's a little complicated because Activision did purchase like the rights from Sony, but then Activision sold the rights to From Software, and like it gets kind of tricky. From Software's rights, the agreements don't include like some older titles, so it gets a little complicated. But yeah,
Okay, so what they need to do is then make a new game that's just like it, but without calling it Tenchu. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah, totally. And don't forget too that they published Sekiro: Shadow Dies Twice. Like I don't
Oh
know,
yeah, they did.
like
Huh.
they don't
If
own
they
they
own it.
don't own the IP, but they did publish it Activision. So I'm kind of wondering what kind of a like a contract they have for sequels, like how that works. Like can you imagine if Xbox like through Activision somehow got like they worked out a deal for a sequel to that? Oh man. Like that was a game of the year what, 2 years ago?
Huh. So when they bring everything to Game Pass, you think that game will make it as well? The first
No,
one?
no.
No, they don't own
Well,
the
they got
IP.
publishing right,
Even though
but
they
they got
published it?
publishing rights though. Because just like Sunset Overdrive, they don't own that IP, but because they published it, it's on Game Pass.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, so I mean, if Overdrive was on Game Pass because Microsoft published it, why can't Sekiro be on Game Pass if they own Activision? Oh, I'm curious because I haven't played it. I'd love to play it if it went there.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people that loved it when it came out. And again, From Software games generally, like, again, there's a dedicated fan base there. I mean, it's not out of the question that it could appear. I don't think so. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that. But either way, there's going to be a lot of IP coming over there. Do you guys think that Sony will respond by like buying somebody? Do you think that they will like
Yeah. They're gonna go into depth, killing themselves, get somebody, but it ain't gonna work.
They're gonna go thrift store shopping. They'll buy some more no-name developers. I'm sure of it. They'll get a few of them.
Another Firefight or SwampMonster.com or whatever they're gonna go and get. Okay.
If they want to get really ballsy, I think if they want to put all their money into something, I feel like the only thing that could really make a splash is if they buy Square. Like
And that
anything
wouldn't
less than
matter
that,
to me.
I
I
can
don't
care
care
less.
about Final Fantasy. I really don't care about Final Fantasy or anything other than Tomb Raider.
Yeah, but I feel like they got a good relationship. If they had to make a splash, that would be it. Anything less than that would not even like be worth it. It would be seen as like a lesser move compared to what Xbox just dropped now.
mm-hmm, right. I mean, there are some reasonably priced publishers, I guess, when you're talking about like, the early billions, I guess, like even a little cheaper than Bethesda, I suppose. I guess Ubisoft kind of falls into that, Square Enix, Capcom, and so on. I know a lot of people talk about them going after Take-Two. I don't see them having the kind of cash flow to be able to buy Take-Two. I'm sorry, just they're too big in my opinion. Especially when Take-Two are like buying. I mean, they just purchased Zynga recently, so I don't know. I just don't think that they have the cash flow for it. Do any of you guys have any other comments to say about this? I know that we could go on and on and on, but like, this is a huge deal for the industry. You guys have anything else that you want to comment on?
The days of Xbox having no games are long over. And if anyone gets caught saying that again, they'll just keep buying another one until they stop saying that completely. That's all I got to say about that. It's poetic justice. I'm glad Xbox, they finally got the support of Microsoft, got the full backing, and it's all uphill from here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well said, MLD. Like, you know what's funny is I tweeted this a few weeks ago. I picked up the Singularity and Time Shift for Xbox 360, and Activision, now Microsoft, owns those properties, and I would love for them to bring it back. The Singularity is like it's a Raven Software developed shooter, and it's fantastic. Like it plays around with time manipulation and so on. And if you guys went into like the story about how that game kind of went through like almost like a development hell, but it still turned out to be a really fantastic game. Definitely check it out if you haven't already. And then Raven got shipped to work on a whole bunch of, again, Call of Duty support studio, which is unfortunate. So I really hope that they have the opportunity to bring back the Singularity. And yeah, Time Shift, whoever gets to work on that Time Shift, a really cool, I know it was early on in the 360 days, but still a really cool IP. I can't believe that they own them. But yeah, guys, I think we'll start to close off the show now. And you know what? Well, yeah, we'll start sunsetting tonight's show. But I gotta say, guys, excellent show from everyone on the panel tonight. I know that we, again, could go on about this forever. It's a huge topic, and even like with the slim details that there are. But again, there's always future shows for that. We'll dive into it sometime later. A huge shout out to everyone that tuned in tonight. And if you haven't done so already, then consider leaving a like, sharing this episode out, and subbing to the TXR channel, as it really does help us out tremendously, so thank you. Also hit the bell for notifications because, hey, sometimes YouTube doesn't like to do that. Over to the outros now, starting with our guest, Xbox Uni. Thanks for hopping on tonight, bud. I mean, it's always appreciated having your perspective. Where can all of our listeners follow you at?
Yeah, y'all could go ahead and give me a follow on Twitter. My new account, Xbox Uni for life. That's Xbox Uni number 45. We just be talking about Xbox stuff, keeping track, doing all the news. But I want to thank y'all. It's always a pleasure. Talking to some Xbox guys. I do love coming on this podcast because there's never no crazed PlayStation fanboy that push back, and I'm not used to that. So like I said, I really do enjoy talking back and forth about Xbox and what we're excited for. We all know there's a great future ahead, so there'll be plenty of stuff to talk about. Anytime y'all want, I'll be more than happy to join y'all, man.
Of course, you're always welcome to come on, brother. Of course, we love having you on here. It's such a great insight for sure. Very passionate as well, no doubt about that. Moving on to the TXR regulars, and yeah, TimDog couldn't make it tonight. Of course, I mentioned that in the chat, but he should be back next week. Centurion buddy, I'll start this off with you. Good show tonight. Really liked your thoughts and takes. Where can everybody follow you at, pal?
Well, for those interested, you can find me and my content at Centurion1307 on YouTube. Just dropped another video this Saturday morning. At least in my opinion, I'm enjoying the attention it's been getting. Definitely shout out to all those who've actually tuned in and checked it out. You can also find me at Centurion1307 on Twitter and Xbox Live, and you can also find me right here every Sunday night on the TXR Podcast.
Mm-hmm. Excellent, well said. Shockley also had to bounce off early. Yeah, that's why you don't see his icon pop up. But of course, you can follow him at Shock Nero. MLD buddy, of course, good show tonight as well. Loved your takes. Where can everybody follow you at?
Thank you. Good show. Twitter is at MLD Ghost. Gamertag is Ghost MLD. I can finally say the reason why my gamertag was Ghost in the MLD is because of the StarCraft Ghost Terran unit. Just another reason why Xbox just gets a lot of us, I'd say. But yeah, just a great show, and looking forward to next week.
Oh, I didn't know that. Interesting. I didn't realize you were such a big StarCraft nut.
Oh, back in the day, yeah. Played a lot of Brood War in the original.
Damn.
So it worked out nicely, this acquisition.
Yeah, no doubt. All right. And, oh, yeah, since Shockley's gone, of course, this is an Invader, and to round out the crew, you guys can find my content over on YouTube at Invader Gaming. I'm also on Twitter at Invader_1986. Have a good one, everyone. Take care. We will see you next Sunday. Later, folks.